Every night, Claire went to sleep beside her husband, and every morning, she forgot who he was. At first, Ethan thought it was a nightmare. One terrible morning after the accident, Claire opened her eyes, looked directly at him and screamed. A scream so terrified, so real, that it still haunted him years later. "Who are you?" The doctors tried to calm her down while Ethan stood frozen near the hospital door. Claire looked at him like he was a stranger standing in her room. Not her husband. Not the man she had loved for 4 years. Just a stranger. That was the beginning of Ethan's new life. A life where every single day started the same way. With heartbreak. Because every morning, Claire forgot him all over again. The accident happened on a rainy October night. Their car had spun off the highway at nearly 60 miles an hour. Claire survived with severe brain trauma. Ethan escaped with only minor injuries. At first, the doctors believed her memory loss was temporary. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. But Claire's mind never healed properly. Her memories reset during sleep. Every single night. Like a broken recording. Every morning she woke up believing it was October 14th, 2019. The day before the crash. The day before her entire life disappeared. She remembered college. Her tiny apartment. Her favorite songs. Her old coworkers. But Ethan? The marriage? Their house? Gone. Every single morning. At 7:15 a.m. Her confusion began again. The doctors called it a rare neurological condition caused by trauma to the hippocampus. But medical terms didn't matter to Ethan anymore. Because no diagnosis could describe the pain of watching the person you loved forget you thousands of times. The first few months destroyed him. Every morning Claire panicked. Every morning she cried. And every morning Ethan had to introduce himself again. "Hi, Claire," he would say softly. "My name is Ethan." At first she thought he was lying. Then she thought people were playing a cruel joke on her. Eventually, the doctors suggested creating routines. Consistency. Repetition. So Ethan transformed their home into a museum of memories. Photos covered the walls. Wedding pictures. Beach vacations. Birthday dinners. There were sticky notes everywhere. On mirrors. On doors. On the refrigerator. And beside her bed sat a small leather journal. The first page always read, "Dear Claire, if you're reading this, it means you forgot again. Don't panic. You were in an accident. The man beside you is your husband. His name is Ethan. You love him. And he loves you more than anything." The journal had been written by Claire herself during the first year after the accident. Some mornings she trusted the journal. Other mornings she didn't. Sometimes she screamed at Ethan to get out of the house. Sometimes she cried in his arms for hours. And sometimes she looked at him with pity. Like he was the saddest man she had ever seen. Ethan quit his job eventually. Claire couldn't be left alone. Every day required patience. Every day required acting. He had to become the perfect husband over and over again. Because first impressions mattered now. Every single day. If he seemed frustrated, Claire became fearful. If he looked tired, Claire thought he was dangerous. So Ethan learned to smile even when he was breaking inside. He cooked breakfast every morning before she woke up. French toast on Sundays. Coffee with exactly 2 sugars. Fresh flowers beside the kitchen window. He memorized every detail that made her feel safe. And for a while, it worked. Claire began trusting him faster. Instead of hours, it only took minutes. She would wake up confused. Read the journal. Look at the photographs. Then slowly whisper, "You're really my husband?" Ethan would smile gently. "Yeah," he'd say. "I am." Sometimes she even laughed. "Must have been hard marrying me." He always answered the same way. "Worth it." But Ethan was hiding something. Something terrible. Something Claire had forgotten. And Ethan prayed she never remembered. Because before the accident, before the marriage, before all the routines and journals and careful lies, Claire wasn't supposed to be part of Ethan's life at all. She had been the other woman. Ethan first met Claire at a publishing company in downtown Chicago. She was younger than him. Sharp. Funny. Wild. The kind of person who made ordinary life feel exciting. At the time, Ethan was already married. His wife, Olivia, had been with him for 11 years. They had a 6-year-old daughter named Lily. From the outside they looked perfect. But perfection is often just exhaustion wearing makeup. Olivia and Ethan fought constantly. Work stress, money, distance, silence. Then Claire entered his life like a spark in gasoline. What began as harmless conversations became lunches. Lunches became drinks. Drinks became hotel rooms. And within 6 months, Ethan was living a double life. Claire didn't know he was married at first. When she discovered the truth, she tried to leave. But Ethan begged her to stay. He promised he would divorce Olivia. He promised Claire she was the future. And Claire believed him. For almost a year Ethan lied to both women. Until the night everything collapsed. Olivia found the messages. Hundreds of them. Photos. Videos. Promises. She confronted Ethan in tears while Lily cried upstairs. That night, Olivia packed bags and left with their daughter. Ethan chased after them through the rain. But Olivia drove away. Claire called him repeatedly that night. Ethan ignored every call. Hours later, Claire showed up at his apartment furious. "You lied to me for a year. I was going to tell you." "When?" "After your daughter graduated college." They screamed at each other inside Ethan's car while rain hammered the windshield. Claire was crying. Ethan was panicking. And then Claire said something that changed everything. "She took your daughter because she knows what you are." Ethan slammed the brakes. The car skidded across wet asphalt. And suddenly headlights exploded toward them. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Then darkness. When Ethan woke up in the hospital 3 days later, everything had changed. Olivia was dead. Claire had severe memory damage. And Lily was gone. Olivia's sister took custody immediately and disappeared across state lines before Ethan could fight for visitation. Ethan lost everyone in one night. Except Claire. Claire remembered nothing. Not the affair. Not Olivia. Not the crash. Not even Ethan. At first Ethan told himself he would eventually explain everything. When Claire healed. When things stabilized. But weeks passed. Then months. And Claire still woke up every morning with no memory. So Ethan made a choice. A selfish choice. He rewrote their story. He removed Olivia from the photographs. He hid every trace of his daughter. He built an entirely new life from lies. And because Claire's memory reset every night, the lie reset with it. For 2 years Ethan lived inside his own manufactured reality. Until the morning Claire found the photograph. It happened accidentally. Ethan had been cleaning the attic while Claire painted downstairs. A loose box slipped from the shelf. Photographs scattered across the floor. One landed face up near the stairs. Claire picked it up. A smiling family stared back at her. Ethan, a little girl, and another woman. The back of the photo read, "Our family forever." Claire's stomach dropped. When Ethan walked downstairs and saw the photograph in her hands, his blood turned cold. "Who are they?" Claire whispered. Ethan froze. Years of lies balanced on one moment. Claire stepped backward. "You told me I only forgot memories after the accident." "You did. Then why don't I remember them?" Ethan opened his mouth. Nothing came out because there was no good answer. Claire's voice trembled. "Who was she?" Ethan sat down slowly. And for the first time in 2 years, he told the truth. Or at least part of it. "She was my wife." Claire stared at him in horror. "Your wife? She died before the accident." The room spun around Claire. "And the little girl?" Ethan looked away. "My daughter." Claire covered her mouth. "You have a daughter?" "Had." But Ethan couldn't say the word. Not out loud. Not after all these years. Claire's breathing became uneven. "So I was the affair." Ethan stayed silent. And silence is sometimes the loudest confession. Claire walked out of the house that night. For hours Ethan searched everywhere. Finally he found her sitting alone at a bus stop in the freezing cold. "You lied to me every day." Ethan sat beside her quietly. "I was afraid." Claire laughed bitterly. "Afraid I'd hate you?" "No," Ethan whispered. "Afraid you'd remember." Claire turned toward him slowly. And for the first time, there was something different in her eyes. Not confusion. Recognition. Small flashes started after that. Tiny fragments. A woman screaming. Rain. A child crying. Broken glass. Every night Claire slept, new pieces returned. First it was only dreams, then sounds, then faces. And Ethan became terrified, because he knew what waited at the end of those memories. The truth. The full truth. The truth Ethan had buried beneath years of routines and fake smiles. Claire became obsessed. She searched drawers while Ethan slept. She replayed old videos. She studied newspaper archives online. And one night, she found the police report. Her hands shook while reading it. Passenger Claire Bennett and driver Ethan Cole were involved in a collision resulting in the death of Olivia Cole. Claire stopped breathing. Olivia died in their crash. Not before it. Claire suddenly remembered screaming in the car. Remembered Ethan grabbing the wheel. Remembered seeing a woman standing outside the vehicle after impact. Alive. Bleeding. Looking directly at them. Olivia. Claire collapsed to the floor as memories flooded back violently. She remembered everything now. Olivia had followed them that night. She had discovered where Ethan was meeting Claire. Olivia confronted them on the roadside. Claire panicked. Ethan panicked. And when Olivia stepped in front of the car, Ethan accelerated. Not by accident. On purpose. Claire remembered his face. Cold. Terrified. Desperate. The crash happened seconds later. Ethan had killed his wife. And Claire had spent 2 years sleeping beside a murderer. When Ethan returned home that night, the house was silent. Claire. No answer. He walked upstairs slowly. Then stopped. Claire sat on the edge of the bed holding the police report. Her eyes were empty. You remember, Ethan whispered. Claire looked at him like she was finally seeing him clearly for the first time. Not as her husband. Not as her caretaker. But as the man who destroyed everything. You killed her. Ethan's face collapsed. It wasn't supposed to happen. You killed her. Tears streamed down Ethan's face. I loved you. Claire stood slowly. No, she whispered. You loved yourself. Ethan reached toward her desperately. But Claire stepped back. And suddenly Ethan realized the horrifying truth. For 2 years, Claire forgetting him every morning had been the only thing keeping her beside him. Without the memory loss, she would have left long ago. Claire walked toward the door. Ethan's voice cracked behind her. What happens tomorrow? Claire paused. Because tomorrow morning, she might forget all of this again. The truth. The murder. The lies. Everything. Claire looked back one final time. Then she said something Ethan would never forget. Then maybe forgetting is the only mercy I have left. The next morning Ethan woke up alone. Claire was gone. Only one thing remained beside the bed. The little leather journal. He opened it slowly. The final page had been rewritten. Dear Claire, if you wake up and forget again, do not go back to him. Some memories are forgotten for a reason. And for the first time in years, Ethan cried completely alone. Because the woman who forgot him every morning finally remembered why she should.